Hello and welcome to The Road to Episode 7, my continuing series charting the course to the release of Star Wars Episode 7 in 2015. And I'm a bit behind on this because I've moved to a different country, so I'm going to catch up as quickly as I can and also go back to something that I didn't mention in the introduction video. I've got my phone here with some notes. First off, it was announced in January that, and it's related and it's not related, but basically Disney have decided to cancel the 3D re-releases of the entire Star Wars saga. Now it says here in the article that they would presume or assume even that Lucasfilm were close to completing the 3D conversions of the post conversions of Episode 2 and 3. So whether or not anything will be done with them, we don't know. But they're sure that the lackluster reception for the 3D re-release of the Phantom Menace probably wasn't, probably had something to do with the decision. But if things go well with Episode 7, maybe we will see them in the future. Personally, I don't really care. I mean, we saw the Phantom Menace in 3D just because it was a Star Wars film, and seeing it on the big screen, even if it's the Phantom Menace, is always awesome. And it was great. It was like really, the 3D was great, but I was waiting for like the old films in 3D. Even though I hate 3D, I would have gone to see it anyway, because any iteration or different version of the films that I love, I'm going to go see anyway. Even if there's a big possibility that I won't like them, I'll be there with with some money in my hand to see it anyway. But I'm not too fussed really, and I think it is a good move by Disney. And it mentions here as well that every decision Disney has made so far in regards to the Star Wars franchise has been positive, from the hiring of J.J. Abrams to direct Episode 7 to the inclusion of Lawrence Kasdan as a consultant on the films. He, of course, was the writer of Empire Strikes Back, I believe. Or the producer. No, the producer was Gary Kurtz, I believe, or one of the producers. I might be getting my facts wrong. If I do, I'll save myself the time of going to look, and I'll just put a little annotation on the video. But I'm pretty sure Lawrence Kasdan was the writer of Empire Strikes Back, which is just, huge really. And they're also trying to get the poster artist, Drew Struzan, I don't know how you pronounce that, out of retirement to do some poster art, which is again great. So Disney really putting a lot of effort into making this a memorable experience for all of us, I think, which is great. Now moving on to what I've kind of fallen behind on, is that Showbiz 411, again, don't know how reputable those guys are, but they're reporting that about the plot of Episode 7, and they say it's sometime in the future. Obviously, Han, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker will be a lot older. Their children will be the new main characters. R2-D2 and C-3PO will be unchanged, I would guess, since they are not human, but suffice to say the three main actors are definitely coming back. And that's really, a main thing that we're going to be kind of talking about at this point in time anyway, because nothing has been confirmed yet. And then, of course, a lot of the expanded universe, the novels, the tie-ins, everything like that have been going on since day one, that have expanded, the stories and told stories in between the films, before the films, after the films, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I used to read all the Star Wars Young Jedi Knights books, and I always dreamed of seeing those as a film. It'd be awesome to see. Some great characters, some great stories, and then of course it gets even serious with some of the bigger books. The Jedi Academy trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy, which I have not read, but from what I've read of like the far future stuff, it just gets a bit too much for me. Like the Yuuzhan Vong and all that stuff, I think that stuff is just so far in the future that I don't really like imagining that or reading about it. But the stuff that's kind of the immediate future, just at the end of Return of the Jedi, or at least the children of Han and Leia and Luke and so on, that's a storyline that I'd be interested in seeing. But seeing like their grandkids and their grandkids, that's when it just gets a bit too much for me. I like to kind of be within the realm of the Skywalker kind of story, if you will. And it seems as if they're probably going to be going in that direction. Now, the main part of this video is the interview that Mark Hamill gave when he spoke to Entertainment Tonight recently. It was about, I don't know, two weeks ago, I guess. and he said, in fact, the interview pretty much came out the day I posted the first part of this series, so I could have talked about it then, but it was too late. He and Mark Hamill says, and I quote, "They're talking to us. George wanted to know whether we'd be interested. He did say that if we didn't want to do it, that they wouldn't cast another actor in our parts, we would be written out of the film completely. I can tell you right away that we haven't signed any contracts. We're in the stage where they want us to go in and meet with Michael Arndt, who is the writer, sorry, and Kathleen Kennedy, who's going to now run Lucasfilm. Both have had meetings set where they've been postponed on their end, not mine. They're more busy than I am." To which I kind of think, like, you really should probably be pegging down a meeting with Mark Hamill if you want to, you know, get the ball rolling. And again, it says here in the article that Hamill had previously stated that himself and Carrie Fisher had met with George Lucas like last summer, or even the summer before, maybe December 2011, to talk about the sequel trilogy. Well before the official announcement, well before the buyout by Disney and stuff. So it is unclear how much has progressed since that happened. He goes on to say, "I'm assuming, because I haven't talked to the writers, that these movies would be about our offspring as opposed to our characters. Like my character would be sort of an Obi-Wan kind of range as an influential character. When I found out while making the original trilogy that that ultimate good news bad news joke, the good news is there's a real attractive hot girl in the universe, the bad news is she's your sister, I thought, well, I'm going to wind up like Sir Alec. I'm going to be a lonely old hermit living out in some kind of desert igloo with a couple of robots." So, you know, whether that remains to be seen, who knows, but it would be really cool, I think, if they included the character of Mara Jade. Whether they will or not, because, again, it's kind of lifting stuff out of the books. Maybe they'll create another love interest, or, you know, it could pick up where Luke Skywalker has already been with this woman and he has his son, you know. Are they going to have Ben Skywalker, you know, that character, or are they going to make out their own name for his son, or is he going to have a son, or what's, you know, there's so many ways they could go with it, and so many ways they could twist it and use the expanded universe or discard the expanded universe. So, you know, and I'm not even like a huge expanded universe fan. Like I said, I've read the Young Jedi Knights books, the Jedi Academy trilogy, I've read a few other things like Shadows of the Empire, but I'm in no ways an aficionado of all that stuff. I dabbled with it in my teenage years and enjoyed it a lot, but never fully. Also, if anyone reads these books, the I guess, I don't know what you would call it, but there's a trilogy of books. Children of the Jedi, Darksaber, and something Twilight something. 3 amazing books. The first and the third are by a woman, a female writer. The middle chapter is by, I think it's by Kevin J. Anderson. And Darksaber is a fantastic book, as is Children of the Jedi. It's an amazing book. So yeah, anyway. He goes on again to say, "Another thing I'd want to make sure is," this is Mark Hamill now, "are we going to have the whole gang back? Is Carrie and Harrison and Billy Dee and Tony Daniels, everybody that's around now from the original, returning? I want to make sure that everyone's on board here and not just one." Which I think is a good way of looking at it, I think. And he also went on to say that what he'd like to see of the films. He'd like to see them revisit the magic of the original, both aesthetically in terms of the practical and CGI effects, and also in terms of the tone of the films. And I quote, "I said to George that I wanted to go back to the way it was, in the sense that ours was much more carefree and light-hearted and humorous, in my opinion anyway. I hope that they find the right balance of CGI with practical effects. I love props, I love models, miniatures, matte paintings, I'm sort of old school. I think if you go too far in the direction of CGI, it winds up looking like just a giant video game, and that's unfortunate. If they listen to me at all, it'll be lighten up and go retro with the way it looks." Personally, I could not agree more, and I'm so happy that Mark Hamill, you know, he's such a cool guy. I know he is anyway. I've listened to like a 2-hour podcast that he did with, or 3-hour podcast that he did with Kevin Smith, mainly to talk about his time as the Joker in the Batman the Animated Series and all the tie-ins thereof. But he also talks a bit about Star Wars. He talked about his whole career, and I always knew that he was kind of a cool guy, but that just really cemented to me how awesome Mark Hamill is, and he just seems like such a nice guy, and really, you know, he seems to be really screwed on in terms of, like, you know, how film should be, because I really believe that the prequel trilogy could have benefited so much from just using, you know, just a small change of using real models for the ships, because you can tell. You see the old Star Wars films, and you can see the effects, and you can look at it and go, oh, it's not as polished as films today, but you can feel that those ships are real. You can see how the way the light dances off it, how it reflects off of those models, and it's more real than you can create in a computer, and you can tell that. And I still believe that, you know, obviously there's no way they could have done those films without, you know, computer generated effects, but if they had done more miniatures, more practical effects, more practical models and ships, you know, just think what they could do with models and CGI backgrounds. You know, they could make it look amazing. And there are things that look amazing in those films, but you just know that they're fake, and it's a fine line. It really is a fine line in terms of, like, how much am I willing to suspend my disbelief here? Am I supposed to be sitting here and thinking, oh god, that's like hot garbage, there's so much CGI there that, you know, it is like a video game? Or are you completely taken away by it? It's, you know, it's a tough question to answer, especially in this day and age, but I personally think he's right, but I don't think they'll go that way at all. Though I'd like to think that J.J. Abrams would have a bit more sense and go for a bit more practical, at least, because you look at the special features on the prequel trilogy DVDs, and it is literally just actors on green and blue, and that is all it is. You know, there's hardly any practical elements besides the actors and their wardrobe. Sometimes not even the characters are real, it's just very little sets, you know, just all blue, green, just, you know, forever. Anyway, tangent, but that's how I feel about it, and I'm glad that Mark Hamill feels about that too. Still no official word on whether Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford or Carrie Fisher have signed on to appear in the Star Wars films, the new sequel trilogy, or how big or small their involvement will be if they decide to sign on to it. But it seems like, for now at least, that they're going to be trying to explore more of the Skywalker and Solo legacy, and I hope that they do, and I hope they move in that direction. I think what they probably should do is really work out a master plan for at least the bare bone outlines of this sequel trilogy, and probably just film everything that they need for those 3 films with Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill. If those characters survive, I mean, they could die in episode 7, we don't know, but if they need them for the future films, they should just do it now, because I really don't think if you go and buy how long it took to make the first 2 trilogies, that's like, what, 9 years? I really don't think in like 10, 11 years Harrison Ford is going to be alive. You know, I think they should probably try and, anyway, that's another whole thing altogether, but I think they should do that. And if they need more from him, if they need more from Mark Hamill, they should probably get all that done in the first principal shoot. That's my opinion on it anyway. Thank you for watching, and hopefully next time will be a lot shorter, and I'll keep it more concise and to the point, and we'll see what news I have to talk about next. Thanks for watching.